Hi everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph video clip. Today I'm making minestrone soup. Now, for those of you who are Italian, you might be quite devastated by my ingredients because first of all, I don't cook well, and secondly, there's some things I don't like. So I'm going to be leaving those out. But to begin, I want to just share with you the ingredients that you need if you want to make minestrone soup. Okay, so the most important thing, of course, is olive oil. We have that here. Next, you'll need an onion, just like these ones here, an onion, Now, I've already got the onion chopped and sitting here because I didn't want to do it to waste my time on the video. So I've got the onion chopped here at the side. And the next thing you're going to need to make this delicious minestrone soup is carrots. Now, that's a thing that I'm not including here. Okay, so I don't really like carrots very much, so I'm leaving them out, but it's up to you if you want to put them in. So mine will be more tomatoey. The soup will be more tomatoey. In English, if something has a consistency of one thing, you can just add a Y. It'll be tomatoey. That lady over there, she's very gossipy. It's like ish. That color is brownish, for example. It's the same kind of thing, Something which has a taste of fish, you can say is fishy, for example. But anyway, getting back to my point. So I'm leaving carrots out. The next thing you'll need is celery. Now, again, I've got it cut here already. But if you're going to buy it in the supermarket, it's going to look something like this, the celery sticks, okay? Now, other things that you'll need, garlic, of course. Now, again, I'm British. I don't really care too much about these kind of things. So I'm actually going to use garlic granules rather than garlic cloves. And then the next thing, which you're going to need, is tomato puree, which I've got here. And you're also going to need a can of tomatoes. Now, if you're lucky enough to be Italian, you can probably buy tomatoes fresh for this. But for me, I'm using a can of chopped tomatoes. Okay. As well as that, you're going to need at least a pint of water. And in this water, you're going to put in your stock. Now, I know, again, maybe if you're a professional cook, maybe you don't like to use stock, but this is what I'll be using. Okay, so this will get dissolved in the water. You can see it there. Next, cannellini beans. Now, again, unfortunately, because I'm in the UK, it's harder to get these things. So I'll be using a can, cannellini beans. There we are. And the next thing, of course, is some dried spaghetti broken into little bits. And then if you want to add a green vegetable like cabbage, you can. Now, I don't really like cabbage, so I won't be adding that. But I will be adding some salt and also some pepper. So there's my salt there. You can see if I turn it around, it says salt on it. Yeah, it's interesting, in American English, table salt, as we call it in British English, in American English, it's known as kosher salt. I've no idea why. I'm assuming at one point there was a religious significance to that because of the word kosher. And also some pepper as well. Okay, so those are our ingredients to make the soup. Now, let me just show you those ingredients again, just so you can see them and we can quickly run through them, because there's nothing worse than not knowing what you're cooking with. Okay, so we'll just go through these again so that you know. So olive oil, an onion, which is already chopped here, carrots if you want them, 3 large celery sticks, which I have already chopped here, garlic. I'm using garlic granules for this. Okay, my garlic granules. Tomato puree. That's kind of like a big deal, isn't it? The tomato puree. Yeah, tomatoes, and again, I'm using a can, chopped tomatoes. Okay. And of course the stock, we've got the water and the stock cubes. The cannellini beans, you can see them here. I've already taken them out of the can. And dried spaghetti, which is here. Okay. Now I'm using whole wheat spaghetti, but I guess it doesn't really matter. And then some green cabbage if you're interested, and salt and pepper. So we're going to begin by heating the olive oil, okay? So let me just move some of this stuff away. Okay, so we'll just switch the cooker on here so you can see this. See if I can give you a better view there. Yeah, there we are. You can get a good view of the cooker. Right, so the olive oil is about to heat. I'm just going to put a drop in. My recipe says it should be just a teaspoon. Okay, then I have to add the onions, carrots if you're using them, and celery with a little bit of salt and pepper. So I have everything all prepared here already. So I just need to drop these things in. Now the onion I was using is very small, it's like half an onion, so I'm not sure it's going to be enough, but I think it'll be okay. I don't like these things too strong anyway. And I think the key for this recipe is probably going to be the pepper, because you know, minestrone soup, if you like it that way, it's very peppery. And you'll notice here that I'm not using a red pepper, which some people do. So my minestrone soup is going to be quite mundane, which is why I'm maybe going to add more salt and pepper than usual. So let's see then, let's begin. So we just need to get this heating a bit. While it's heating, let me just show you my pancakes. I made these this morning, absolutely delicious. Yeah, aren't they nice? Yeah. There we are. So I'm going to add in the celery and the onions. Okay, and I'm going to cook them until they're soft. And then I'm going to add in the garlic and the tomato puree. Now, for the tomato puree, it says 2 tablespoons, which is quite a lot, but we do want it quite strong. Now, just to let you understand, a tablespoon, okay, is this. Yeah, it's a tablespoon. It gets a bit confusing with all this half a tablespoon, a bit of a teaspoon and everything else. I mean, for me, it's a metric system. Oh, kilograms kill me. They really do. I mean, I have no idea what I'm doing with those. Right, so let me just put this in. Right, so while they're cooking, I'm just going to get everything else ready because next, after this, goes the garlic and then the tomato puree. So everything is kind of ready, you know. My concern about this is that because of the lack of carrots, the consistency isn't quite going to be the same. So that's why I'm putting in more cannellini beans and more tomatoes to kind of compensate for that. Okay. Now the other thing I need to have on standby here is the lid of my frying pan, very important, because it will need to be covered at some point. Okay, so we'll have a little look at that as well. It's actually a really easy recipe. I was surprised. Now I've not been eating well this last week. As you know, I'm diabetic. My diet is sometimes really good and sometimes really awful. So it's not really been so good recently. So I promised myself I would try to make some more healthy food this week. Okay, you can hear it starting to sizzle. So we're going to soften that, just to soften those vegetables. And when they're softened, we're going to add the garlic. And it's only garlic powder. It's not like it's garlic cloves. It may have been an idea to do that first, but it doesn't matter. I start work in 45 minutes on the system. After I do this, I'll need to go and get logged in, I suppose. I'm not sure what you've got planned for today, but I hope whatever you're doing, it's a nice day. By the time you see this, it's probably going to be somewhere around early June. Yeah, with the number of video clips I have at the moment, just waiting to be seen. So that's quite exciting, isn't it? With my new weekly lesson on my website, teacherjoseph.com. Right, let's see how we're doing with this. Yeah, I don't actually mind cooking. It's something I enjoy, but my problem is because I'm British, we don't really have a history of cooking well. So for me, I don't really know what goes together because I don't really taste the food. I'm more attracted by its color. So it's hard for me to say, oh, put this vegetable with this one. So that's why I like to follow the recipes in the books, Already I'm sensing that maybe with these vegetables I should have cut them a bit thinner, because some of them are looking a bit big there, especially the onions. So make sure that you either put your vegetables in a food processor to mix them all up, or cut them very finely. See, I don't have the patience for that kind of thing, Right, there we are. So next, we're going to add the garlic powder and just fry that. Now again, it depends how spicy you like this. I do like my soups a little bit on the spicy side, so I'm going to add more garlic. It's garlic powder I'm using anyway. There we are. So I've just added in there, I've just added in there a little bit of garlic powder, and you'll see there things are coming along nicely. Okay, so I'll leave that for a minute. And next is the tomato puree. Now it's asking for 2 tablespoons of this. Okay, so again, it's up to you how much you put in. I'm not using carrots in this, so I'm going to make it more tomato-y, okay? Remember, tomato-y, you can add the Y. You can even use it the same with colours. Reddy, browny, but that's more ish, reddish, brownish, okay? So, here's the tomato puree, and I'm not going to measure it, I'm just going to put this in. So that's beginning to smell really delicious. I mean, really. Okay, so next I'm going to put the tomatoes in, and then I'm going to cover it and bring it to some kind of a boil along with everything else that needs to be added. Okay. So the tomatoes and the stock are next. So I'm just, oh, delicious, really. The smell is really delicious. Okay, so I'm using tinned tomatoes. Okay, might not be your thing. The beans and the actual pasta, the spaghetti, goes in last. Okay, so this is the chopped tomatoes. Right, I just need to get the stock. Now it's sitting here waiting. I'm using 2 of these cubes that I showed you earlier. That's one of them. That's the opened one there. So I'm just going to mix these up in the hot water. And I'll show you that just in a second. Yeah, now, some stock cubes, as you know, are kind of like powder or powdery, if we use that Y thing again, talking about their texture. But these OXO tubs that I'm using, they're kind of, they're more like well, they're more like rubber, and they don't dissolve easily. So I've done the best I could there. So I'm just going to pour this in. There we are. Now, it says to bring this to the boil. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Once it boils, I'm immediately going to reduce the temperature of it, okay, and let it simmer. And then I'm going to put the beans and the pasta in it, okay. So what I'll do is I'll just pause this for a minute. I'll be back in a second, and I'll be showing you me adding the beans and pasta. So I'm just going to pause this for the next 5 or 10 minutes, tidy up, and then I'll be back. Hi again, welcome back. Okay, so just to give you an update, as you know, we're making minestrone soup, and when we left just a moment ago, the recipe said let it boil, and then simmer it for 15 minutes. Now, it hasn't been quite 15 minutes, it's been around 10, but already I can tell you that it really is delicious. I mean, I've just tried it. It's crying for salt because I haven't added any salt and pepper yet. But the next thing we need to do is to add the spaghetti and the beans. The beans and the spaghetti. Now, about the spaghetti, I always buy whole wheat spaghetti because I'm diabetic. I'm not supposed to eat the proper spaghetti because supposedly it has too much starch or whatever. I don't know. So I'll be using whole wheat. You don't actually need very much of this. Okay, you just need a few very small strands because we're going to break them up, you know, into bits. So we're going to add these and then we're going to let them cook along with the beans. Okay, so let me just take the lid off here. Right, I'm just going to add bits of this in. Okay, you'll see me breaking it there. If you want a real kind of like spaghetti moment with this, then feel free to add them the way they are. But for me, I'm not really big into this kind of thing. So I'm just going to do bits. I think most of it ended up all over the cooker there anyway. And I've got to add the beans as well. So I'll just put them in. Now, I can tell you it is tasting delicious. Okay, so I've just tried this and it really is delicious. That's all I can tell you. Okay, I'm just going to try it again in a moment. But first, we need to add some salt. And also some pepper. Be really careful with the pepper, because it's obviously up to you how much you like and how much you don't like. So yeah, be careful with this. As you probably know, if you accidentally make a dish with too much salt in it, adding more pasta or more potato, if it's a potato dish, get rid of the salt. Okay, so I'm just going to check this and see how it is. It's delicious, really. I kind of get a feeling it's missing something, but that's because it's not cooked long enough yet. It needs to boil again, and it'll be doing that for a little while. So I'll just put the lid back on it. I've already turned the temperature way down, and there we are, minestrone soup. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you enjoyed it, please do like it on YouTube. That would be nice. And I'll catch you all again soon. Take care. Bye.